You've had 3 weeks to write your English essay and now it's due tomorrow and you haven't even started. Or you've had a library book on the floor of your car for 5 weeks because that's how long you've been telling yourself that you'll do it tomorrow. Or your teacher announced last week that there's an exam today and you're freaking out because you haven't studied and it's next period. Listen, procrastination, super normal and everyone does it. That's because it actually serves a fundamental purpose to help us avoid psychological or emotional pain. But there's a catch, because we all know that procrastination is a self-destructive behavior that almost always causes more pain. It can lead to bad relationships, bad grades, anxiety, and low confidence. Now, if we throw ADHD into the mix, everything gets more complicated. Now, if you have ADHD, you are probably an expert procrastinator. And that's because there are 3 primary reasons why people with ADHD procrastinate like a boss. Number 1, ADHD comes with executive function weaknesses. Executive functions include a constellation of skills that help us manage ourselves, like time management, task initiation, prioritization, focus, planning, organization, things like that. So of course it makes sense that someone who has trouble planning, managing their time, organizing their tasks, and beginning their tasks, right, would struggle with procrastination. They go hand in hand. Number 2, ADHD goes hand in hand with emotional dysregulation. How we manage our mood and our emotions around a task is directly related to us being able to complete that task. Now, this is also where motivation comes in. Emotional regulation influences motivation, which is another challenge for people with ADHD. So if someone is in a negative psychological state, they're overwhelmed, they're feeling anxious, they're feeling incapable and not confident, then the result is almost always procrastination, or actually even total avoidance. So being able to manage our moods and our emotions is connected to us being able to get the task done. Number 3, saving things to the very, very end adds an element of urgency, which adds an extra dose of the brain chemicals, adrenaline and dopamine. So people with ADHD have atypical levels of these neurotransmitters. And so doing things last minute, right, in the 11th hour, is in a way like self-medicating motivation. So if you have ADHD, you know what I'm talking about, right? Like when you can absolutely slay things in the last, like the night before it's due, but it causes anxiety. It gives you panic attacks. It makes you not sleep good. It's not good. Like you'll get it done, but at the expense of what? All the things that actually matter, right? In this video, I'm sharing 5 strategies for task initiation for people with ADHD. Of course, they will also absolutely work for you if you don't have ADHD. But the reason I'm making an ADHD specific video is A, I'm an ADHD coach, okay? But also the 5 tips are directly connected to the 3 ADHD connections that I just outlined. Hi, I'm Katie Azevedo from SchoolHabits.com. I'm a private executive function coach and I teach students and professional strategies to learn and work better. And I am also the creator of the Executive Function Journal. If you're curious about that, executivefunctionjournal.com is where you'll find everything you need to know. Please consider giving the video a like and a try that again. Please consider liking this video and subscribing if you haven't done so already, or if you want to. That makes a huge difference. And if you want more tips and tricks for productivity and a lot of behind the scenes stuff, then you can find me on Instagram. I'm ready to get started. You? Let's go. So task initiation tip number 1, or anti-procrastination tip number 1, is to rely on external systems and structures. So internal self-regulation is a challenge for people with ADHD, which emphasizes the importance of relying on external systems. Now, while many people with ADHD initially reject these types of systems, like passionately reject them, they're more important than anything else. Honestly, it's just a matter of finding the right systems for you. So external systems, of course, like calendars and, whether it's digital or not, like whatever, that's an external system. Alarms, clocks, those are external systems. Also rules. So even something as simple and basic as like, I start all homework every day at 4. Like if that exists as an established rule and you've made that decision once, you don't have to remake that decision every day. Another one could be like, I do homework in the kitchen and I study in the living room. Okay, that's actually an external structure. That's an external rule. If you make them yourself, instead of like having someone make those rules for you, then you'll buy into them more. And yes, you've heard this before because I just literally said it 2 seconds ago, but like checklists, calendars, clocks, alarms, things like that. I know so many people with ADHD and executive dysfunction fight these things, but it's those who fight them the most that need them the most. It really is just a matter of finding the right one. Assignment notebooks would be in this category. If you don't like a whole full assignment notebook system, that's fine. Use an app. I have simple one-page printables in my shop. I will leave that link below. Again, experiment. Find something that works. Number 2, add urgency and novelty to a task before beginning it. Novelty and urgency are the 2 ingredients for motivation for people without ADHD, but specifically for people with ADHD. So novelty means newness. So you could add a level of newness a variety of ways to the task that you're doing, even if it's a really boring task. You could use new materials, you could do it with a buddy, you could change your environment, and then you can add urgency with things like timers, interim deadlines that you give yourself, accountability partners, consequences, rewards, things like that. Again, if you impose these things on yourself instead of like, if you hate when your parent does it for you, then do it yourself. I know people with executive dysfunction are like, but I can't do it myself. Yes, you can. Yes, you can. Look at me. Yes, you can. It's gonna be harder. Sure, it's gonna feel unnatural. But yes, you can. All right. Number 3, do at least part of the task. We sometimes procrastinate when we feel overwhelmed at the thought of doing the whole thing. So instead of tackling a project or a big homework assignment or an essay or something like that, all in one sitting, which is not something I suggest you do anyways, just begin with the first step. Now, of course, you have to know what the first step is, and sometimes that's as basic as like, open a Google Doc, right? So don't write your whole essay, just open the Google Doc and name it. Or maybe like, if you have to make a slide presentation for something, just like, open up slides, pick your theme, and make your title slide. Start with something super basic. Do you have to start studying for a test? Start by just like finding your study guide or getting your materials together. Baby steps. Number 4, this is my favorite, don't wait for motivation to strike. This is super important. Now, come back to me now if you've been multitasking while watching this video. Come back to me and focus on this, all right? Motivation is temporary, it's unpredictable, and in a way, it's just a luxury. We can't wait to feel motivated to do something before we begin it, or sometimes we'll just wait forever. Like, we're not promised motivation. We're not, and it's neat when it's there, but it's like I said, it's kind of a luxury. Now, I know I need to do it, but I just don't feel like doing it is the most common knee-jerk response I get from students who've been procrastinating. And my response is always the same. It's a little bit of tough love. It's like, and? Like, why are you waiting till you're motivated? Like, most of us are not motivated to do the drudgery things all the time. Like, I am really not motivated to scoop my cat's litter box. I'm not motivated to like pay my quarterly taxes. Like, I'm not. You do it anyway. Now, I know this response isn't all cuddly, but please know that it comes from compassion. It comes from my genuine empathy for people with ADHD. And it comes from my knowledge of cognitive science. Number 5, I like this one, and it works. Work alternatively on 2 different tasks. So if you expect a task to be super boring, you'll be more likely to procrastinate or to avoid it completely. And this goes back to what I said at the beginning of the video, which is that procrastination often stems from our desire to avoid pain. So essentially, task initiation won't happen if pain or boredom is expected. So a strategy for people with ADHD is to pick 2 alternative tasks to work on. Now, the key is that the 2 tasks should not require the same level of cognitive effort to complete. One should be challenging like an English essay, and the other would be like less challenging, like writing out Spanish flashcards or something. So you would work for 15 to 30 minutes on one task, and then switch for that same amount of time on the other task. Yep, set a timer, because who knows what 15 minutes feels like. Time's not a feeling, folks. Come on, we know this, right? So set a timer, work for the same amount of time on each task. And you alternate back and forth, which decreases boredom for sure, until both tasks are complete. So listen, ADHD is a developmental difference that impacts areas of the brain that control executive functions. And as I've explained, executive functions are the skills required to manage ourselves independently. Now, if you have ADHD, you probably are really familiar with procrastination and the consequence and the anxiety that comes from the things that you didn't do by the time you were supposed to do them. But you know what? Like, to be honest, procrastination is gonna be in your wiring. It is. It's gonna be more natural for people with ADHD to procrastinate than not. But that doesn't mean you're doomed. That doesn't mean you're doomed to procrastinate forever and that there's like no solution. Yeah, you're gonna have to work harder at it. You are, but it's possible. There's strategies, which is like what this video is, right? And this is what I do for a living. Like, there are ways to make life easier. There are. It's still gonna be a challenge, but it's not a death sentence, guys, at all. And these strategies that I went over in this video are aimed to help you set up the right external structures and mental frameworks for overcoming your natural tendencies to procrastinate. Also, if you're the parent, educator, or the guardian of a child with executive function deficits, I want you to check out my executive function journal. It's a 90-day journal that directly targets core executive functions so that your child can operate independently. That's the ultimate goal, right? I designed it with 16 years of teaching experience, a master's degree in special education, and a whole lot of insight into ADHD. The link to that is in the description box. Now, of course, if you have any questions at all about what I talked about today, leave those questions in the comments. Give this video a like, hit subscribe if you want to, and as always, I am genuinely so grateful for the time that you spent here with me today. Thank you so much for watching.